Capturing customer value is one thing. Finding ways to show that value in the marketplace is another. You can't rely on your customers to tell them they value your product or service. You have to be proactive in finding ways to demonstrate this value. When conducting outcome-based mapping studies, it is important to ask questions that can help you understand the customer value and impact of your program or service. 1. How do you measure impact? To effectively measure impact, aligning the questions being asked with the desired outcomes is important. In some cases, this may mean understanding the pre-existing data you can collect to measure changes in outcomes, i.e., before and after comparisons. In other cases, it may mean developing new ways of measuring impact that can be collected over time. Impact can be measured quantitatively or qualitatively. Quantitative measures are often preferred, but they may not always give a complete picture of what is happening on the ground. Qualitative methods, such as interviews and focus groups, can help fill in any gaps in the data by providing context and meaning around numbers and trends. What are outcomes? An outcome refers to an observable and measurable event or change that results from a project or program activity. The most important thing is to ensure that you have a clear plan for using data to improve your program or service. The following sections include some examples of measurement tools and tips for conducting outcome mapping studies at different stages of development. Here are a few starting questions. 1. How do customers currently solve their problems? 2. What are their current options? 3. What are their needs? 4. How does your program or service meet their needs? Here are a few impact questions. 1. What is the impact of your program or service on customers and stakeholders? 2. What are their outcomes? 3. How does your program or service impact their lives? 4. What is the value of your program or service to customers? 5. How does your program or service improve their lives? Establishing improvement strategies. Once you have identified and measured customer value and the impact of your program or service, you can start to identify areas where you can improve. Conduct a gap analysis to help you identify the areas where you can improve your product or service. 1. Examine your product or service from the perspective of your customer. What needs does it address? How well does it meet those needs? 2. Make a list of your competitors' products or services. How do they compare to yours? 3. Based on your customers' needs and your competitors' offerings, identify the areas where your product or service could be improved. 4. Prioritize the areas for improvement based on the potential impact on your customers and your business. Take a look at the outcomes your program or service is currently achieving and those you'd like to achieve. Compare those two lists to identify the gaps between them and strategize ways to close those gaps. Capturing and maximizing customer value is a continuous process. It is not something that you can do once and then move on. It takes consistent effort and attention. To be successful, you must find ways to improve your product or service continually and how you deliver them. You also need to find ways to measure your progress and identify areas where you can improve. An outcome-based mapping study can be a helpful guide for conducting this type of analysis. Visit business901.com for more information on managing customer value.